The call. I never answered. There are calls you miss because you're busy, and there are calls you miss because you choose not to answer. I missed my father's call for the second reason, and I will live with that choice for the rest of my life. My name is Emily Carter. I grew up in Riverside City, a place where my father's name carried weight, a place where people stopped to greet him, not because they were forced to, but because they respected him. My father was Daniel Carter. To the city, he was a well-known public figure, a former state commissioner, a man whose voice mattered in meetings and decisions. To the world, he was important. To me, he was just Dad. Quiet, firm, protective, sometimes too protective. My mother's name is Margaret Carter. She was gentle, patient, always trying to balance my father's seriousness with warmth. She used to say, "Your father worries because he loves deeply." Back then, I didn't understand what that meant. Growing up as Daniel Carter's daughter wasn't easy. People watched everything I did. Every mistake felt bigger because of my last name. My father believed reputation was everything. He used to tell me, "Your name can open doors, Emily, but it can also close them." When I was younger, I listened. When I became a teenager, I questioned him. And when I became an adult, I stopped listening. At 23, I moved out of our family home into the center of Riverside City. New job, new freedom, new life. For the first time, I felt like I could breathe, but my father didn't breathe easy. He called every morning, every evening, sometimes just to ask if I was home safely. At first, I answered, then I delayed. Then I stopped picking up altogether. Not because I hated him, but because I felt suffocated. I told myself I was grown. I told myself I didn't need permission anymore. I told myself I had time. That evening started like any other. I was getting dressed to go out. Nothing wild, nothing dangerous, just a small gathering downtown. My phone rang. Dad calling. I stared at the screen. I didn't answer. Seconds later, it rang again. I sighed and silenced it. A moment later, another call came in. This time, it was my mother. I ignored that one too. I told myself, I'll call them back later. Later is a dangerous word. What I didn't know was that earlier that day, my father had felt unusually tired. He had returned from a city meeting quieter than normal. He told my mother, "I don't feel right about Emily tonight." So he called me, not as a public figure, not as a respected man, but as a father. And I didn't answer. At the gathering, my phone buzzed again. Same name, Dad. I felt irritated, embarrassed. People around me were laughing, talking, enjoying themselves. What would they think if I stepped away again to answer my father? That he still controlled my life? So I ignored the call. That decision lasted less than 10 seconds. The regret will last forever. When I finally returned home, the city was quiet. Too quiet. I checked my phone. No new calls, no messages. That's when fear slowly replaced pride. I called back. No answer. I called again. Still nothing. Then I called my mother, straight to voicemail. My heart started racing. At exactly 2:17 a.m., my phone rang. It wasn't my father. It was my uncle. His voice was shaking. "Emily, your father collapsed tonight. He was rushed to the hospital." I froze. Then he said the words that shattered everything. They tried everything. Everything wasn't enough. By morning, Riverside City knew. Daniel Carter is dead. People gathered outside our home. Messages poured in. Leaders sent condolences. The city mourned a great man. But no one knew that his last calls went unanswered by his own daughter. My mother sat quietly in the living room. She didn't cry at first. Then she looked at me and said something I will never forget. "He kept calling you." He said, "She'll answer soon." My chest tightened. I couldn't breathe. At the funeral, people spoke about his legacy.